Okay, intro to DevTools, here we go. If you already know what DevTools are, you can just skip this. This is just going to be an intro for someone who doesn't know. Go to some other tips and advice that we have on DevTools that are a little more advanced. So starting from scratch, you don't know what DevTools are. If you open Chrome or Edge or any modern browser, Edge and Chrome, they're both based on Chromium, so the DevTools look pretty much the same. Safari look a little bit different, and using them is different. This is either Edge or Chrome, the one that I'm using here. I'm on a web page. This is the Precision web page, and if I hit F12, it'll pull up the DevTools here. The DevTools let me inspect the HTML. So another way to get this tool up, that was F12, but I can close the DevTools there, and I can right click and I can say inspect. Okay, and that opens this up. I can use this. Another way to do it is, let's close the DevTools again. I can hit Control-Shift-C, and that's going to open them up. It gives me also, when I inspect or hit Control-Shift-C, this little weird looking cursor. If you have this and you're like, I want to get rid of it, you can just click any element and then that goes away. Basically, it selects the HTML over here on the right of whatever you were hovering over and clicked on, and that helps you jump to certain elements in the HTML. So that's pretty cool. Like I can jump to this if I want to jump to this because I want to do something with it. I can Control-Shift-C and then click it and it jumps to that section. And there's another way to do that. If you can't remember Control-Shift-C, you come to this little element here and it'll tell you in the tooltip, Control-Shift-C to do that. Whenever you see that, you want to get really good at keyboard shortcuts because you use these things over and over and over when you're a developer. So what I like to do, the habit that I like to build, is instead of clicking this, if I'm looking at something that I'm going to use over and over, I see the shortcut, I will purposely not click it, and then I'll come over here and then I'll hit Control-Shift-C and then use the shortcut in that moment. Even though it might take a few extra seconds, you do that a few times, then you get that muscle memory going for your keyboard shortcuts. So now we have, let's see here, I have this element selected. That's pretty cool. I can change the HTML by just kind of double clicking in here. I could select the H1 element and change the color. Maybe I'll just change it to red or something like that just for fun, just so we can see what that would look like. There's so much to learn about DevTools. There's just so much going on in there. One thing that I'd like to show you is I will usually not have this docked right. You might want to use this undock into a separate window. It just makes it a little bit better so that you can kind of, if you have that pulled out into a separate window and you maximize it on one of your other screens. There's just so much going on in DevTools. It just helps to have like a full view of it. But I'm docking right here for the purposes of demoing so that you can see what's going on. Elements tab, that's the primary one that you're going to work in if you're doing HTML and CSS stuff. You can see the structure of the document here and collapse and change things. And F2 is a keyboard shortcut that you should use a lot and get comfortable with for editing. So if I select on an element, I hit F2 and it just puts me into edit mode. There's two edit modes in here. This is like a text edit mode where I just double clicked and I'm just adding like an exclamation point there. Okay, but let's say I add like angle brackets like that. Then what happens is it put literal angle brackets in there. But if I wanted to, like if I try to do like another element in here from double clicking, I just want to show you the difference of this. Like let's say I do a small, that's an HTML element that you might put inside of an H1 tag. And then I might put like small text or a disclaimer or something here. I don't know, whatever would be small. I'm going to put a little space. I'm going to hit enter, but you'll see that it literally wrote small there. And what I wanted was I wanted the small HTML syntax. So those are the two edit modes I was talking about. That edit mode that I was using there was just a double click. I don't know the keyboard shortcut for that. But the edit mode that I want here is the F2. When I hit F2, then it puts me into like HTML edit mode. Now when I do the same thing, type the same thing in here, small, and then I'm going to put, you know, disclaimer or whatever the text is, and then I hit F2 again, takes me out of edit mode. Now it put the disclaimer in the smaller text, which is actually what I wanted, and it nested this little HTML, so it has a separate one here. You can also move things around, so I could take this small text and kind of drag and drop it somewhere. I do notice, I don't know all the subtleties of dragging and dropping, but I noticed that sometimes you can't drag and drop different directions, like for whatever reason. I don't know what it is. Sometimes you can only drag stuff up. So if you're having trouble like dragging something down to a certain area, try to swap what you're doing and drag the other one up above it, like if you can't get the order right. I don't know why that's kind of quirky. There's probably some underlying reason that I don't quite understand and haven't looked into. Obviously, if I hit F2, like let's say I wanted to take this small and put it back inside that H1, well, I can't really drag and drop it there. I can only now go above it because I already dragged it out of there. So to get it in there, how do I get that in there? Is I've got to go up to the parent element that has the two elements in it that I want. Go up to this header, I hit F2. Now I can cut this small out and I can paste it back inside of that H1 where I want it to be. Okay, so that was a brief intro. Look for more tips and tricks where we'll be diving more into Chrome tools, give you a lot more advanced usage out of this because there's just so much going on in here.